yeah, here we go, everybody. Let's talk some Packers. We are a long way away. This tackle football game on Monday night out in the desert. I don't mind the Packers getting the national spotlight. We know we've lived in it under Rodgers for a long time. I just hate waiting for it. Aaron Nagler joins us now. Nags is brought to you by Clicks Link. He's brought to you by Miller Lite, Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There's a difference. And by Rogers Behavioral Health. Good morning, Mr. Nagler. How are you?
Good morning, Czabe. Good morning, boys. How we doing?
I'm doing good, although it's gonna be a long stretch to get to Monday night.
All good things to those who wait. Come on now. Come on. So. The anticipation's part of the fun. Let's go.
I know. We got a lot of juicy storylines. I said Garoppolo better be better because we owe him one. I want to see Jair versus Devontae.
Yes, sir. That's the one.
Versace angle back to the team that liked what he did on a temporary basis, but then went and hired Josh McDipstick. Not a fan of him.
Couldn't tell.
Wow.
I mean, that's a fair nomiker. Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, right.
But I don't think you're wrong either.
I don't think you're incorrect.
So we got all that going for us. But here we are at 2-2. I had a question to me from someone who I hadn't talked to in a while as a Packer fan who said, "So, what do you think of Jordan Love?" And my answer was, I think he's a QB1, and that's a great thing.
That's a win.
That's as far as I'm willing to go. He's a QB1.
I get you there.
What would you say to such a question? What have you said to people who ask you, "Hey, Nags, what do you think of Jordan Love?"
Really good start. Really good start. You heard from Tom Clemens yesterday talking about how, you see things in practice and preseason, but you never really know until a guy or a quarterback in particular is kind of in the mix in regular season games. And he's confirmed what they thought. And that was Tom's quote, that he's a good player. Now, he's got a long way to go. There's a lot to work on. But, man, look, just watch the Giants game last night. Daniel Jones got handed a boatload of money this offseason and is now performing like that. It's like just the ability to have a starter who doesn't short circuit your offense is you're ahead of the curve in the NFL at this point. There are a lot of young, really talented signal callers across the league, and I think Jordan's right in that mix. Look, the stuff about his accuracy or completion percentage and things like that, I think that will improve the more he plays, the more he gets on the same page, not only with his wide receivers and the young guys around him, but the more Matt, as a play caller, gets comfortable knowing what Jordan's comfortable with and good at, that will improve over time. But, man, just out of the gate, these first 4 games, you got to like what you see.
Is his completion percentage a concern to you?
No, not at all. Like I said, I think it will improve over time. He's making every throw that you could ask. There are 100%, no doubt, opportunities that go wanting, so to speak, because he's hurrying a throw or, he doesn't have his feet planted and he's side-arming it. And he's completed some balls that way, but that gives him false confidence, right? That, I can do this all the time. He's just a young guy who needs reps and needs to know his limitations, needs to know, okay, I've got to set my feet. I've got to be pointed towards my target. I've got to be doing these things that will up that completion percentage. But at the same time, man, again, he's made every throw. He's stood in there. This is the other thing. The fact that he was under the duress he was under against Detroit and didn't bail, his eyes never started falling early, he kept going. He was in the pocket taking hits while delivering darts to receivers. That's so encouraging for a young quarterback who's not bailing, not falling off his back foot, not crumbling under the pressure, not eating it and taking a sack. That's really, really impressive for a guy on his 5th start in the NFL.
Well, you talk about pressure. All right, you also said good things come to those who wait. Well, we're waiting to hear from David Bakhtiari, right? And it sounds like Matt LaFleur says we need to hear from him. I don't want to put words in his mouth. He wants to talk to you, the media. What do you think comes of that? I think it's done. I think he's done for the year and maybe even, further. I think, when you look at that, what's the recap of that?
It's a tough situation, man. I will say, I know, like you said, Matt indicated that David wanted to talk to the media. You got to suspect that'll happen either today or Thursday, most likely next open locker room sessions. Obviously I'm not privy to any of the medical information, but we do know he had surgery and he has another one scheduled. I mean, that doesn't sound great, especially the idea of him coming back this year. I think that ship has sailed. Now, look, who knows? Maybe Dave comes out and says, I'll be back if we make a playoff run, etc. But I suspect that, he's probably played his last game this season in that Week 1 contest in Chicago. And, if you're being like 100% realistic about it, there's probably a decent chance that he's not on the team next year. Given his cap situation, given his contract, the Packers have the ability to kind of move on this offseason, and I think that probably will be the case. Now, again, who knows what conversations are being held behind closed doors. Maybe he does, A, say, oh, no, I want to come back, and B, I'll work with you on the contract. That's an entire possibility. But, man, looking here with the information we have, on the outside looking in, it sure feels like this is probably it for Dave. In Green Bay, I think he'll play someplace else if he is let go.
I agree with that. I want to go back a little bit. Thursday night, a lot of Detroit fans in the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I know you've been very vocal about that. We've talked briefly about it today. And the talking text line, these streets are rough in the morning, Nags.
That's what I hear. You guys handle all the surly people.
You're getting strays coming your way. All these Cheesehead TV guys, that's all they want to talk about. They're garbage. Stick up for us. So here's your platform now again.
Garbage.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Well, they said
that was the intimation. I get it, Butch.
Yes,
don't worry.
I
understand. I get this in my mentions all the time, Butch. Trust me. I know what you're talking about.
I'm giving you the platform here because Czabe counted it up. He came about 18% were Honolulu Blue and all the above. So talk about that a little bit.
Okay, well, there's a lot to unpack here. So first of all, what the gold package people need to understand is that I am mostly, not all the way, but mostly joking, ribbing, like having fun with the whole Milwaukee crowd, right? Mostly. However,
backtracking, beep.
Nope. However, as we all know, every joke is a joke that is rooted in an ounce of truth. Now, I have maintained forever that the modern version of the gold package is a little more subdued. A little more subdued. You know what I mean? A little more subdued. And then I was like getting into flame wars with all these people on Twitter from Milwaukee who like take umbrage at this idea. And then I had Corey Lindsley on my podcast like years ago who unprompted took a shot at the gold package, saying, yeah, it's a little more subdued. They're a little quieter. And Corey literally says, everyone knows it. So that's when I became ironclad. I was like, oh, I'm done. Like, the players agree with me. So they the Milwaukee crowd, y'all can get all upset and text Czabe and do whatever you need to do, but I'm right. So enjoy it. Enjoy the fact that I'm right.
If you were to take over for Mark Murphy, and he's got one more year left at the helm.
Yeah.
If you were to take over and you could do it, would you vaporize the gold package?
No, I love the idea of what the gold package represents as far as it's a nod to a very historic relationship with the city of Milwaukee that kept the Packers afloat for a very long time. It's a very important relationship, I think.
Yes.
What I would destroy is the ironclad, it's every second and fifth home game of the year.
Right.
Nuclear, that needs to be shot into space, and then just wait for the NFL to hand you the schedule and then decide which games are the gold package games. Like, it's such an easy fix. Take the easy win, Packers. I am begging you.
Right. Okay. Second question. What percentage of opposing fan infiltration is, to your mind, acceptable and or inevitable?
Ooh, those are two very different things, right?
10%.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would suspect. But here, look, man, I'm a capitalist at heart, and look, if your team is doing well, and your team's fans have the wherewithal and the cash and the ability, they should take over a stadium. I mean, the Packers fans do it all the time. We literally do it all the time. I suspect on Monday night you're going to see way more Packers fans in attendance than you are Raiders fans. That is just the gig.
50-50 at best, yeah. So you know that you have this beautiful stadium that is a Mecca destination. It's going to attract opposing fans.
Of course. Well, it's a bucket list thing too, right? I mean, it absolutely is for most sports fans, no doubt.
And I would say unofficially, anecdotally, I've got no data to back this up, that Lambeau Field is 32nd. Well, I feel it. I believe it's, well, not 32nd because there's not 32 stadiums. There's
31,
31, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, at 30 because LA shares as well. So 30.
You're right. They're 30. Lambeau Field, I believe, is 30th in NFL Fight Club rankings.
Oh, 100%.
Number of viral
Zero
videos
question.
of
Yes.
drunken idiots throwing fists. And that is something that is not only to be applauded, but it's the reason why fans come there and fly colors.
Yeah, well, you can enjoy the game. It's about the game of football at Lambeau. That's the thing. Yeah. And to your point, we had someone email us last week after the Friday, a Detroit fan who was like, I can't believe how welcoming the fans are at Lambeau. And I hear this all the time from opposing fans. Like, you're in the parking lot in your colors, right? And people are like, hey, have a brat, have a beer.
Yeah.
Enjoy the game. Like, have
Midwest nice, you know?
I was going to say, though, I mean, you say they don't have drunken. There are plenty of drunken idiots. They're just not ready to throw hands. Like, they're fun drunks. That's why I love Lambeau Field. Like, it's lots of people having a good time, throwing down, and everyone's just there to watch the game.
I'm a Bears fan. I've never had a Packer fan.
Josh, how about those Lions fans at the end of the game last year, at the end of the season? Were they fun?
Even, to be honest with you, they weren't bad. Even when they were getting
they weren't bad.
No, even when they were getting
okay, and also they had just won that game and were allowed to crow. I mean, hello. That's the whole reason you go, for that chance. Yeah, I get that.
They were like, this is our house now. Seriously, we've had so much fun. Thank you, guys. You know, like immediately after.
And here's the other thing. They're not wrong. I mean, they keep coming into Lambeau and kicking the Packers' ass. So, yeah, it's kind of their house now. Packers got to do something about it.
Let's talk Joe Barry. I mean, to me, there's no way.
Really?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Oh, boy.
To me, there's no way that he'll be back next year. So the question is, would you improve if you got rid of him this year? I know that is very anathema, fancy word for what the Packers do. They don't like doing this stuff.
Yep.
But would it work this year? To me, he's unsustainable beyond this year. He's been given chance after chance after chance. His defenses don't deliver, aren't delivering.
I agree. And I was very kind of, I guess, vocal about this all offseason, that he needed to prove it, right? I mean, Matt doubling down on bringing Joe back was probably the biggest misstep of the offseason, right? And I don't think we've seen anything to dissuade anybody of that opinion. And look, Joe, I'm sure, is a great dude and very trustworthy and probably running the scheme that he was brought in to run, right? But man, and you heard Matt on Friday say, like, we got to look at some of the things we're doing with this, you know, shell of a defense that we run, this too high shell that they love to run. But it's a light box, and teams that want to run the football, like Detroit and Atlanta, see that and go, oh, thank you very much. And they just rip off run after run after run. The fact that Joe is kind of the face of this thing, you know, is understandable. There's, like you say, there's no way Matt's going to fire him in season. But this is Matt's making. Like, he's lying in a bed he made. So I don't, you know, to your point, would it change? Yeah, probably a little bit, but not. Because whoever would be brought in or elevated on staff is still going to be running the same scheme. It's not like you're coming in and going, well, guys, now we're a 4-3. Like, you're still running the same stuff.
I know. I get the notion of it. It's sort of like this is what Seattle did with the Legion of Boom. Keep everything in front of you, too high shell, run downhill. But they had guys that came in and just knocked your block off. Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Sherman locking down the corners. I mean, they got good corners, the Packers do. They don't have the safeties who can come downhill and decapitate you, and the league doesn't even allow that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that concept works the way it did back in the day. So they got to try something different.
Yeah, I mean, look, to your point, theoretically it's great, but theory doesn't play on Sundays like grown men do.
Neg, so let's just say there is a change, right? I mean, because you do. Let's say Josh Jacobs just runs all over this team. You got a bye week. That would be, you could make
That'd be the point.
Right?
That'd be the inflection point, right?
That would be when you would do it. What is the benefit, though? Because the players don't change. The system's in play. That's what I mean. That's my biggest argument to everybody that's out there with it is, how does that play out? Because like we said, like if you're going to make the change, it's because Josh Jacobs just absolutely ran all over you. You lose.
right.
who has 1 point, obviously played well.
Hasn't been great this year. That's the thing.
But
He's
it
the
hasn't
Russian
been
leader.
good.
He's the Russian leader coming off of last year, but he has not gotten on track in any meaningful way. Now, obviously, he had the whole contract situation this summer, so who knows? Maybe he's working off the rust. I don't know. But, yeah, to your point, this is a bad Raiders offense, and this is a running game that has not been very productive at all. And if the Packers go in there on a long week with plenty of time to rest, plenty of time to prepare, and the Raiders run all over them, well, then, yeah, then there's got to be some serious conversations. But I still don't think anything materially changes on the coaching staff. Like, maybe they
pull the trigger, though.
No, he won't.
Why do you say it's so strong? That shocks me, because at some point, Matt's got to realize, like, I got to do something.
Yeah, of course he does, and maybe he finally. And look, he brought him back. He brought Joe back. It's on Matt, and Matt has to dictate to Joe. Say, Joe, this is unacceptable. We cannot keep lining up with 2 down linemen and our safeties 20 yards off the ball, and expect them not to pound the rock down our throat. You know what I mean? Like, it's on Matt.
I'm just curious when that tipping point comes. Like, it's intriguing to me.
The offseason.
Matt gets ahead of the curve here or not. It's just intriguing.
All right. 3 quickies on the way out. Quickie, do they revoke the green light on Keshawn Nixon taking it out from the end zone?
Ooh, baby, they should. I don't know if they do, but they absolutely should.
They should. You're in favor of that. Okay.
Yep.
Here's I'm throwing for a loop on this. Hold on. I should have wrote down my – I had two other ones real quick. We don't have time for them. Mr. Nagler, is always a pleasure. We'll hear you today, noon to 2, okay? Noon
Carry
to
the G
2,
Radio, baby.
G Radio instead.
Hey, those angry texters, come out. Check out Carry the G Radio. Bring all your nonsense. I'm ready for you.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Nagler.
Take it easy, guys.
Nags brought to you by Miller Lite Orthopedic Associates.